weird at first, but don't freak out if they sing, okay? Hi guys, it's Claire. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. We love having new people. I love to meet new people. Nice to meet you. Today, if you didn't read the title, I'm gonna be giving you some tips for sorority recruitment. I go to the University of Tennessee and I am a sophomore this year. Crazy. I am a member of Pi Beta Phi. These tips are mostly gonna be universal for anyone at any school, but I will get into some details that are only about Tennessee. I love my sorority. I really wasn't so sure about Greek life going into it, but I wanted to give it a shot and I'm obsessed with it. So I encourage everyone to go Greek and find your home and find your best friends and just find where you're supposed to be. When I went into recruitment, I thought if I don't like it, I can always drop. And I ended up loving it. The University of Tennessee has 13 sororities: Alpha Chi Omega, Alpha Delta Pi, Alpha Omicron Pi, Chi Omega, Delta Delta Delta, Delta Gamma, Delta Zeta, Kappa Delta, Kappa Kappa Gamma, Phi Mu, Pi Beta Phi, Sigma Kappa, Zeta Tau Alpha. Those are all of our sororities. There's 13 sororities at the University of Tennessee, and in my opinion, they're all extremely different. When you're first going through recruitment, you don't realize how different they are, but then once you're in one of them, they are all extremely different, but a lot of them have similar values and similar personalities, but they do have their differences. The schedule, at least at Tennessee, is Go Greek round, Philanthropy round, Sisterhood round, and then Pref round. Sometimes they call it different rounds, but it's usually similar at other universities, especially big southern ones as well. I also have a recruitment vlog. It's not the best, but if you want to go watch that, I'll link it down below so you can go check it out. Starting with Go Greek round, you go to all 13 houses, and then you are supposed to rank them starting the first day. After Go Greek round, you have 2 days of Philanthropy round. Philanthropy round is supposed to be about the service and the charities that each sorority sponsors and is passionate about. And so that's a really fun round. Sisterhood round is also super fun. In Sisterhood round, you just get to see a different light of how close these friendships and bonds are between the girls. And then Preference round is the last round before bid day, and you only go to 2 houses, but you're there for like an hour long. So that's the round that's pretty serious and emotional and deep. Obviously, recruitment's gonna look a little different this year. I don't know how it is at other schools. I know a couple other schools are definitely doing it online. I'm sure most schools are doing recruitment online or not doing it at all. Tennessee is doing recruitment, however, most of it will be online. We're trying to do Preference round in person, and it's optional. If you don't want to do it in person, you don't have to, and you can do that on Zoom. I have very little information about how it's going to work on Zoom. What I do know is that Go Greek is going to be videos, I believe. You'll get to see videos from every single house, and then Philanthropy round is going to be on Zoom, Sisterhood round is going to be on Zoom, and then Pref round should be, crossing our fingers, in person if you would like to do it in person. It is optional if you are concerned for your safety. We are taking more precautions than usual, obviously. So I don't know how recruitment's gonna go online, but my best advice is honestly try to be as open as possible. And I know it's hard to work through a computer screen, and sometimes like Zoom or FaceTime can be sort of awkward, but just try to break down that barrier that separates you. I think it's important that you try to connect as much as possible on the computer in whatever time you have. I do not think anyone should be talking about coronavirus. That's just something so easy to talk about, and everyone's talked about coronavirus for the past 5 months.
This is editing Claire, but I wanted to just come in and say that if you went through a difficult time during coronavirus, that's okay to talk about. Like if you lost a family member or struggled with mental illness, like that's okay to talk about because that's your experience. I just wouldn't talk about the virus itself. Does that make sense?
You're not gonna find what house you fit into if you're just discussing how important it is to wear a mask. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna know where you're gonna end up by having those kinds of conversations. You need to get into like deeper conversations. Here are some ways to do that. That was a good segue. Good job, Claire. Right now, I'm gonna speak about how to start meaningful conversations when you're going through the rounds. So Go Greek round, or the first round, if you're at a different university, is usually just like small talk, but now since there really isn't a Go Greek round, at least at Tennessee, you save the small talk for the beginning of philanthropy round. So small talk is anything from where are you from, what's your major, why'd you choose the university you're at, why you decided to go through recruitment. So make sure you have answers for those. If you're undecided, I was undecided when I went through recruitment, make sure you know like some of your options, bring up what you're passionate about. I don't want you to think that you have to come up with perfect answers to impress them, because that's not what they're looking for. They're really just looking for like what makes you you. So anything that makes you different, anything that makes you stand out, like bring it up. They'll also ask you like what your life at home is like, and feel free to talk about your friends, feel free to talk about your family. Your life doesn't have to be perfect. They're not interviewing you really, they're just having a conversation with you. So don't think you have to walk in there and be like this like put together version of yourself, because the whole point of going through recruitment, in my opinion, it's to get to the deep conversations. Because if you can't have a deep conversation with the people you're talking to, then you're probably not going to end up being friends with them. Does that make sense? Those are some common questions that are asked. When you get to philanthropy round, they'll ask you if you did any service. When you get to sisterhood round, that's when you'll really start talking about like what your values are, what you look for in a friend, more of like why you decided to go through recruitment, more of what you're looking for in a sorority. And then when you get to pref, this is where it's really unpredictable where the conversation can go. It's really just getting to like the deeper conversation. So if some of the questions they're asking seem like they're poking you to go deeper, you don't need to. Like, they're not doing it on purpose. Like, they just want to have a genuine conversation with you, and whatever you talk about with them is not going to reach other girls. Like, they're not going to go tell their friends what they talked about with you. It's pretty understood that like if you have a conversation like and you're opening up about something deep, they're obviously not going to like go around spilling the tea. Be willing to share other parts of yourself that people might not know from the surface level. Another big tip for having conversations throughout recruitment is asking them questions about them. You don't want it to be one-sided. If you're just answering their questions, then they're sitting there like, this girl only cares about herself. Like, it's not an interview. Get that through your head. It is not an interview. It is a conversation. You're trying to figure out what sorority you should be in, just like they're trying to figure out if you fit in with their sorority. So please have a mutual conversation. It may seem like the girl has the upper hand, but really, they don't. When you're having these conversations, please, 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 please don't lie, don't over embellish, because it's unnecessary. You don't need to make like some grand story up to impress them. Like I said, you're not trying to impress them by what you've done. You're trying to impress them by what kind of person you are. So please don't like flex on everyone. We don't need to walk around being like, I did this, I did that, especially if it's not true, okay? All they want is to see who you are. If you think you have to be more dramatic and add to who you are, then I think you really need to focus on loving yourself for who you already are. There's no reason to lie about it. This is something I highly recommend. Know what kind of values you look for in a person going through recruitment. Before you even go through recruitment, try to figure out what you look for in friends. Try to figure out what you look for in family. Like any traits or qualities that you think are essential or necessary to have those in mind and see if the sorority matches up with your values. If you want genuine people, if you want kindness, just try to keep in mind your values going through recruitment. Your Gamma Chi's will probably tell you this. Try to have some core beliefs that you actually believe in so you can see if those values and beliefs match up throughout recruitment. So I touched on Gamma Chi's a little bit just there. Gamma Chi's are there to help you, so use them. They're the greatest. Other schools in other states call them different things. Basically, it's the people that are helping you through recruitment. These girls have chosen to disaffiliate with their sorority. Please don't try to find out what sorority they're in. It's really unnecessary. These girls have chosen to disaffiliate with their sorority for a couple months at least and help you go through recruitment because they know how scary of a time it is. So just use them whenever you want to. I loved my Gamma Chi. I actually ended up in the same sorority as my Gamma Chi, so that's fun. I know at least there are some really great Gamma Chis out of my sorority, can't tell you who, but there are also some from other sororities, and it's just really nice to know that someone's in your corner. They are not trying to get you to go into their sorority. They're literally just there for you, and they're backing your decisions and your opinions. And sometimes you just need to talk through your decisions with someone to see what you actually want to do. A lot of times during these talks throughout recruitment, you'll talk about what you're passionate about. That can be anything. It doesn't have to be your major. It can be your major. It can be a hobby. It can be your dog. It can be your family. Literally anything that feeds your soul. Like, just know what it is. And there's gotta be something that feeds your soul. You can't tell me there's nothing you're passionate about. Even if it's something stupid, you can find whatever you're passionate about and make sure to talk about it because that's what makes you unique. Also, it's nice to see that girls have something they're passionate about and something they strive towards and go for. Make sure you're having genuine connections with the person you're talking to. This is where it kind of gets hard. You think you want a certain thing in a sorority. And you think like, oh, this sorority acts like how I want to. When they drop you, you're like devastated. But you'll know which ones actually want you and you'll actually want them too. So just have genuine connections. You with the girl and the girl with you. You'll know when you know. Don't hold back. This is another thing with opening up. Sometimes it is super hard for people to open up, and I am not a stranger to this idea. It's very hard for me to open up to people. I actually talked to my big, hey Carly, I talked to my big 2 days, like 2 rounds of recruitment, and she's like the only person I've opened up to like before I went through recruitment. Honestly, love her for that. Don't be afraid to open up to them. Honestly, that's the start of like genuine bonds. Some girls cry on pref round. That's a fun fact. Some girls definitely cry during preference round. You don't have to cry. Don't feel like if you don't cry, they're gonna think you shouldn't be there. No, you don't have to cry, but some girls do. Be confident. Don't be cocky. Be confident. Okay, let's get into this idea. I talk about being the main character of your life. I talk about law of attraction. If you feel insecure, if you feel nervous, it's all right to tell them, I feel nervous. I personally don't believe in doing that. Want to know why? My motto is fake it till you make it. And this is true. It literally is the law of attraction, just put into simpler terms. So if you're acting like you're not scared, if you're acting like you're confident, not cocky, not arrogant, not selfish, confident, difference, just know the difference. If you're acting like you're confident, if you're telling other people you're confident, if you're telling yourself you're confident, then eventually you will become confident. If you're telling other people you're nervous, you are gonna believe you're nervous, and then you're gonna be more nervous. So my tip is to fake it till you make it. Again, don't be fake, even though I just said fake it till you make it. Don't be fake, be genuine, but just try to have confidence. Hold yourself up. That's the person they're gonna notice when they walk into the room. Everyone is a great human being, but sometimes people lack the confidence and courage to show themselves off or to have deeper conversations or to even talk about themselves. And so you just need to have confidence. It's okay to talk about yourself in this setting. Just make sure you're not only talking about yourself. Ask questions to the girl too. Clothes. This is something that is very brought up. Here's what I have to say about clothes. Wear what makes you comfortable. People say this and you're like, no, I have to look cute. I mean, look presentable. Don't get me wrong. Do look decent. A lot of times they tell you not too short, not too many rips, which is, yeah, like you want to be appropriately dressed. But wear what makes you comfortable. And if you want to have something that spices up your outfit, spice up your outfit. Do something different. Literally wear what makes you feel good about yourself because that energy is going to then project from you. I already said this, but I'm going to say it again. It's not an interview. I'm going to use an example this time just so you really get that drilled inside your mind. Right now, I'm the only person in my family who has ever been in a sorority. Therefore, Nobody in my family could give me advice. I could get advice from other people, but my mother is a very smart individual. If she's watching this, I love her. However, she did not know how recruitment worked. So she thought I should be walking in there and like literally going in like perfect, pristine, ready to answer all their questions for me to sell the best version of myself. Let me tell you, this is not how it works. And I knew that. I told my mom, I was like, Mom, that's not what they want. Like, you're not walking in there trying to sell the best version of yourself. Because if you're trying to do that, you might as well just give them your Instagram and call it a day. That's the best version of yourself. What's more important is to go in and show as much of yourself as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. If you walk in there acting like you're perfect, people are gonna think you're fake. Like I said, it's not an interview. This all is gonna wrap up with my last, most important, final point that I want to yell in your face about. No matter how loud I say it to you, you're not gonna get it until after you go through it. But trust the process. Everyone says trust the process, and that's very vague. So let me break it down, okay? I'll give you a little story time of why you should trust the process. I'm not embarrassed by it, but it's something that might make me seem really lame. I'm being very open by sharing this story. I went through recruitment. First day, you're supposed to go from 13 to 10. The first day, I went from 13 to 2. That knocks your self-esteem down quite a bit, especially because you thought you had good conversations with people. The next round, I went from 2 to 1. I then went through 2 rounds, like 2 full rounds, with only 1 sorority, which is the one I'm obviously in now. My point, I love my sorority. I don't see myself in any other sorority. But if you would have told me that back then, I'd be like, what the f***, everyone hates me. My point is, I was put in a situation which made me feel really terrible, and I was like, F this. But I went through it anyway. And I started falling more and more in love with the house I'm in. And I literally could not have seen it going any other way. So trust the process. If something like what happened to me happens to you, talk to your Gamma Chi about it. You don't have to tell everyone. I understand you feel kind of upset about it, kind of embarrassed about it. Let the process take you where it takes you, and you will end up where you are supposed to. Please, if a house drops you that you really like them, try not to get too sad about it. There's a reason for it. The universe is putting you on the path to your destination. I'm sure you've watched a bunch of these videos and you keep hearing the words, trust the process and everything happens for a reason. I know you've heard that over and over again, so I'm trying to put it in different words for you. But just know, you will end up where you are supposed to. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to touch on as many things as possible. If you have any more questions for me, leave them in the comments and I can answer some of them. I'll do my best to answer them. Also, if you did like this, make sure to subscribe because I will have lots of vlogs and sorority content coming very soon. Stay tuned. We're going back to Knoxville in the fall, so we're gonna have lots of content coming your way. And give this a thumbs up. Share it with your friends if they're going through recruitment. I hope this helps you in some way. But I'll see you in my next video. Bye!